I'm Gabriel Richi.
Jeremiah McConan.
Welcome to the Richi and Meko Connection. Our guest today, returning, is Sani. He'll be joining us later. First, me and Jay have to get some business out of the way.
hmm
You know, me and Jay have a vote for
Yeah,
NBA awards at the end of the year.
you guys should
We,
know this.
we send them into the league.
Yeah.
We get a letter every year from Silver thanking us for our patronage. We don't, but we like to cover that stuff anyways and act as if we did have a vote. And right now, we're going to go through the NBA awards. So
hmm
we're going to do all NBAs, first team, second team, third team. We're going to cover MVP, Coach of the Year, Most Improved, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year. Am I forgetting anybody?
I think that,
Okay.
and then you said Coach of the Year, right?
Yeah, Coach
Yeah,
of the Year.
I think that's it.
Yeah, and then when Sonny comes on, we'll ask him what he thinks about all that. Just real quick, we just didn't want to bore you. We know when you do, as we have experience with this, when we have an extra person on for lists where everybody has to go through something, have an extra person is an extra 30 minutes to a segment.
That's
So Sonny's gonna come on. He's gonna talk some playoffs with us. Incredible historic day yesterday in Boston. He's
wow.
just the guy to have on to talk about that because, as you may have heard when he was on initially, way back when things were looking tough, he was a lot more positive about the Celtics than me and Jay.
hmm
But right now, all NBA. Um, we'll go first through third. I know that's a little
Yeah,
anticlimactic, but Jay, do you want to do your first team and then I'll do my first team?
yeah. So first team, I had Booker, Doncic at the two guards.
Ah.
I had Tatum at the forward, Giannis at the other forward, and then Jokic at the center. And believe me, bro, I wanted to put Embiid and
Yeah.
Jokic. I wanted to put them together, but like I thought about it, and if the NBA, if that's how they're gonna set the rules, and obviously we're not really voters, but we would like to like do this, like respecting like like the integrity of the league and how the
Eh,
rules and shit. Like
speak for
I think we
yourself.
we have to, we just gotta go with how they got it positioned, and they want it as center, forward. If they had center, or if they just not even if they had center, if they just took out that position shit, then obviously Embiid's on. But just going by how the
Mm-hmm.
NBA does it,
Yeah,
that's why
I
I
feel you.
went with that.
Yeah,
But I'm not mad if Embiid's on anyone's first team.
right, right. He's the scoring champ, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. So I did three versions of the first team, and then I'll tell you what I actually ended up going with.
hmm
So version one is actually I'll call this version one, the traditional. And my
Okay.
version one is basically what you just said: the guards, Booker, Doncic; forwards, Giannis, Tatum; and then the center I had Jokic.
Okay.
But then there's version two, which is I called it the backcourt guys and the ball handlers.
Mm,
Um, I'm sorry. It should be front court guys and ball handlers. Anyways, Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid.
I like that.
And then the guards, Booker, Doncic.
Yeah,
So basically, I'm getting Embiid in there. Embiid had a better year than Tatum.
he
Tatum's the
did for
guy who get.
sure.
Tatum's the odd guy out in that version. And then I have the version I'm actually going to use, which the NBA wouldn't like, which a lot of people wouldn't like, and it's a little different than yours. And I call it the five best guys, the
Mm,
five best basketball players this year, undoubtedly. Um, or I guess and it's not even close. It was very close actually.
yeah,
Uh, I had backcourt Tatum Booker, and then big men I had Giannis Embiid Jokic, and Doncic gets bumped out on this. And that's what I'm gonna choose. I'm just gonna go with
I
the
like
five
that.
best guys. I want this to be a representation of the 15 best basketball players from this year.
Yeah.
Um, things are always changing throughout history. I
hmm
understand you want to stay traditional, but there's already been a million things that have changed over time. There used to not be a 3 point line.
Yeah.
There's been inflated stats and there's been non-inflated stats. There was guys
Even
in
with
the
the All
90s.
Star voting now, they're like
Right.
change that to.
Yep.
That's why I'm like, if you're gonna do it with the All Star voting, why not just do it with the All NBAs? Because that's way more important.
Right.
But it's the NBA's decision.
Right. So that was my first team. Once again, Tatum, Booker, Giannis, Embiid, Jokic. And I didn't do that. Those three versions I just did for the first team. Now I'm just going to stick
Mm.
with the next 10 best guys in the league. Would you like to go
So start with
you?
second
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
All right. So second team, I got Curry, Morant, DeRozan, Durant, and then Embiid at center.
Okay.
So sticking with the positions thing, and then yeah, like I mean, imagine if Durant played 55
He'd
games.
be on
Then
first team for sure.
yeah, he'd probably take Tatum's spot for me. I mean, a lot of these guys like Curry, Morant, and B, these were all guys who were on the first team at one point during the season. Same
I
with
was going to
DeRozan,
say
maybe.
this. I was going to say this. If you're on the first two teams, at one point in the season,
Yeah,
there was at least a little whisper that you were in the MVP discussion.
facts for
If you
sure.
weren't in that discussion, you have no business being on these first two teams.
Yep,
Jokic,
100%. Great way to put it.
Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid are the three finalists for MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Booker, there was a little chatter. Um, Tatum, there was some chatter near the end here. Doncic, there's been chatter.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, my second team, Durant, Marant,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a Dr. Seuss poem. Kevin Durant, John Morant, Luka Doncic, who was left off of my first team, DeMar DeRozan, and Steph Curry.
Okay.
Steph Curry was the MVP of like the first month of the season,
Oh yeah.
and then it's not like he sucked after that.
Yeah.
But it did get weird during right around
The
the
record.
the record, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So that's why he's not he wasn't even sniffing the first team, but he has a solid position on the second team.
Facts. I like that. All right, so we'll just get into our third teams now. Then
Yeah.
third team, I
This
had
is where it
Trey
gets
Young.
controversial again.
It does,
This
yeah,
is
and
where it gets controversial again.
it's really just one controversy for me. It's one player, but he's in. I guess you guys can guess who that is. But I have Trey Young, Chris Paul. I'll save him for last.
Okay, same.
Pascal Siakam,
Same.
Carl Anthony Towns at
Yes.
center. Because
Yes, and here
fuck
we
Rudy
go.
Gobert.
And here we go. Who did you side with?
LeBron James.
Oh.
I
Oh.
had to do it, Gabe, and I
Let's talk about this.
obviously am a little bit sick. Not even a little bit sick. I'm pretty sick about it. But yeah,
I feel you.
let's talk about it, bro. I mean, he was basically leading the league in scoring for like 95% of the season. The games thing, it's like it's close. It's really close because he kind of played more. Yeah, pretty sure he played more games than Durant. Like he's up there in games played as most of some of these guys on the team. So like I guess he kind of gets in with that too. But if one was to penalize him for coasting for half the season and them not even making the play-in, let alone the playoffs, and like that being the penalty for him being on third team, like I'd be curious because there's some guys out there who you could definitely put instead of LeBron, but like I'm saying I would not be mad at anyone if like
You would
LeBron
not be
isn't on their
surprised
third
if the
team.
league came down hard on Benny Wallace.
Pretty much, yeah, exactly. But yeah, man, Braun got in.
Let me see here 1 second. I got he played 56 games this year.
Mm-hmm. I think Durant was like 54 or something.
Played 56 games this year. Just to real quick,
like I feel like he played just enough. But go ahead.
Real quick before we get into it, I also had Chris Paul, Trey Young, Siakam, and Karl Anthony Towns. I also had all four of those guys.
Okay. Oh, okay. What's the fit? This is good.
But I did not have LeBron James.
Drama.
Can you guess
who'd you have? Who?
I'll give you a hint. He tried to kill his coach on live television a few weeks ago.
Mr. Jimmy.
Yes.
Yeah. See, that was the first name that popped up as to who would be next, but go ahead. Yeah.
And I almost went with LeBron. I really went into it like, I'm going to pick LeBron. He played one more game than LeBron. Mm-hmm. He's on the number one seed in the East. We all talk about how crazy the East was this year. How, look at all the games the Celtics are winning in a row, and they're still like struggling to get the 2 seed.
Yeah.
It's razor thin. Miami came out front. We're gonna have no Miami Heat in the top 15, as a
Yeah, it's fair.
representation of what the league looked like this year. You're
Mm,
not gonna have any Miami Heat player in there. I'm putting their leading scorer. He played more games than LeBron. He that team has his DNA in it. He scored 21 points a game, which is not even near LeBron. Of course, you put LeBron on the Heat right now, and it probably looks uh, as just a player. Of course,
yeah.
he'd have to be on my All NBA at that point, right?
Right.
In
Yeah.
that situation. But I'm blaming LeBron for the situation he's in.
Mm,
He set that Lakers team up, and there was some stat chasing this year, which is cool. I'm fine with it. He's earned it.
yeah.
He's earned the
At
right
least
to
he.
stat chase.
At least he didn't end it with like I'm just when they were already eliminated, play the games to get the scoring title because he could have done that. At least he didn't do that. That would have been gross, bro.
Yeah. So, despite the fact that he tried to fight his coach a few weeks ago, and then I went into this thinking, oh, and even part of me wanted to just give it to LeBron in terms of legacy.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna lose your spot on All NBA, you should lose it when you're a guy like LeBron. You should have to like get your head taken off. You should not even
Yeah.
come close to, you know. But
I feel you.
but they didn't even in a world where we have a tournament at the end of the year now
That
where
he was against.
you can finish. What did the Spurs finish? 34 and something. They won 34
Yeah.
games. They were like,
They were under 500.
yeah, they were way under 500. You can't even get that. You can't even get there.
Mm.
I can't put you on All NBA.
I
Also, he
respect
didn't win.
that,
He
bro.
ended up not winning the scoring champ title,
Yeah.
which was going to be he's going to win the scoring title. You're not going to. He didn't win it. So I have to leave him off. Of course, he's the next guy on.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Nah, it
that's the
was
All NBA for me. Those are 15
no,
best players of the year.
I like that a lot. And it was between like if it wasn't gonna be LeBron, it was Jimmy for me. It was between those two. But
Oh, we have breaking news.
yeah, what's up?
Marcus Smart has won the Defensive Player of the Year.
And let's go.
You
That
want to jump to
let's
that real quick?
fucking go, man.
You
Yeah,
want?
we could jump to that. Let's yeah. Wow.
That's
I
cool.
thought they was
That's
gonna
really
hold
cool.
him, bro.
That's really cool. Imagine if they gave it to Gobert.
Bro, like Gobert, I thought maybe Bridges was gonna get it, which I wouldn't have been too mad at, but
Yeah. So
let's go, Marcus. That's actually awesome.
I
All right,
picked
go
Smart.
ahead.
I picked Smart.
Same.
Bridges a close second, but
Exactly.
Bridges is sort of. I feel like Bridges is sort of part of a system where he can excel on defense. Where Smart is the heart and soul of the Boston Celtic defense. That is a very Homer thing to say, but I think
A
it's
little
true.
bit.
But I think
But I see where you're coming
I
from
think
here.
it's true, and we
Mm,
have to reward the best defender on this historical defensive team for the second half of the year. Overall, the numbers
yeah.
because of their shitty start, Phoenix does beat them in a few statistical categories on defense, and Bridges is Phoenix's. And I love Bridges. As a basketball player, I love Bridges much more than I love Marcus Smart. I mean, I'm the president of the Mikal Bridges fan club.
This is
But
true.
I had to go with Smart. Bridges a close second, and Gobert is. I'm not out. I'm sure you heard Simmons and Russillo talking about the Gobert thing today. I don't know if you've got a chance yet.
I heard a little the first part, yeah.
They fucking listen. I'm 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 not a. He's not. I think he's underrated guarding the perimeter. I do, and I do think he's a great defender.
I agree with that, to be honest.
But I think it's a lot harder to do what Marcus Smart did this year than what Rudy Gobert does.
Thank you. Yep.
It's just it's an easier when you're 7'2". It's just easier to be a something in the paint to stop whoever's in the paint.
Yeah.
But I'm also not in the camp of shitting on Rudy Gobert when like Kyrie Irving gets a shot off against him
Hmm.
when he's that size.
Or
It's
it's
like
like
of course that's gonna
CP3 or
happen.
someone.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like stop clowning him because one of the greatest um offensive players of all time can cook him. That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my defensive player of the year take.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I agree with all the points that you made on Smart. Another thing is like, because some of the I feel like man, I'm so happy he won it because I really thought the analytical nerds was gonna take over this one. Because a lot of the like advanced numbers and shit, like if you look at it, it favors like a Jaren Jackson, Gobert, Bridges. But that's because like
Trust me, I was looking
it's
last night.
yeah, I guess with the math, I guess when you're protecting the rim, the math just favors that. But if you this is where you got to put the numbers to the side a little bit and
Right.
actually like watch these games. Marcus Smart is everywhere, bro. Like he's like literally even like last night or yesterday we saw it with him just diving on helps like bro, like the guy just does everything. He's not afraid to get hit. He put his body on the line. Like there was a little bit of a worry in Celtics Nation because last year and the year before that, it looked like he was slipping a little bit, but maybe that was just because of the vibe of the team. It was just not good. He wasn't playing up to his, full potential. He might be like a Draymond type. I remember hearing this about Draymond once, like when the games when they don't matter as much, like they don't rise up to the occasion. But when the games really matter, like those type of Draymond, Marcus Smart type of guys, that's when they're like, okay, here we go. Like I'm
Right.
going balls to the wall. So maybe that's why now that we have a good team, we're seeing it more out of Marcus. But yeah, man, you watch him every night. He does everything for them. Him and Time Lord. Time Lord I was for sure. Was he on my? He might have been my first All NBA. I'm not. I think he made all my first All NBA. But yeah, well deserved for Smart, man. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that we got to hear that he was live
Yeah,
too. Like
live on
that was
on the pod.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations, Marcus Smart.
Yeah. And then I guess okay, second I had Bridges, Mikal
Okay. Okay.
Bridges.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me hear the
And
rest.
yeah, like he was pretty good. Like they usually put him on the opponent's best player. And it's like you said, you're right about that. It's definitely a system. Same with Smart too, to an extent,
Right.
because it's the switching and Rob
Right.
Williams and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But Bridges holds his own against like the best player on the other team most nights. So he was second for me. And then Jaren Jackson was third. Maybe Time Lord should be third, but the injury at the end, games lost. I think
Not
that's what it
enough
came down
games
for
for
me.
me. Not enough games for
Yeah.
me, man. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Jaren Jackson, he had a hell of a year. Led the league in blocks, I think. So he gets third, and that's
I
the
feel you.
the defensive dogs in the league, man.
Yeah. You want to do
All
Coach
right,
of the Year? This one's
yeah, let's
actually
do
pretty
this.
interesting because
Let's
I'm
do
still
it.
kind of torn. I want you to go first and
So
see.
it's
I
probably the hardest one.
I
This
have like
and
6 guys written down right now, and
yeah,
there's
I
probably
don't
even more
blame
than
you.
there's probably even more legitimate candidates than that.
All right, let me pull it up. No, this one was hard, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, sorry, guys. This is awkward as I'm like looking for it.
That's okay. I can tell you some of my honorable mentions.
Who do you have?
So I had Teron Lou. I thought it was really impressive that that team had nobody all year and
Hmm.
still found themselves in the play-in.
Yeah.
I think he's shown over the past couple years that he is like a legit leader of men in this league. I also had Willie Green.
Hmm.
Uh, that like no Zion, everybody just expects them to fail. They start off like 3-12 or whatever it was,
Mm-hmm.
and now they only lost by 11 to the Suns last night. Of course, playoffs don't factor into my award decisions for regular
Right.
season, but another guy who is just like getting guys, getting millionaires to buy in when
Easier said than done.
easier said than done, and then getting them to buy in when there's like no chance that they're gonna actually win the championship, like when the talent's just not
Mm,
there, but getting guys that with the whole Zion thing hanging over their heads and everything. And you have Alvarado coming out of nowhere, a bunch of guys, Herb Jones,
yeah.
a bunch of guys who we've never heard of, and he's bringing out the best in them. So I had him up there, and then Spolstra, just number
Mm.
one seed. I had Spolstra up there, and then that rounds out the bottom three. And you can I'll let you take it away from here before I get into my official picks.
Yeah. All those guys you mentioned, same honorable mentions for me. All right, I'll start with the list. I'll go 3, 2, 1. Three, I had Monty out of
Ah,
Phoenix. I think he's probably going to be one on a lot of people's list, and I can't be mad at that. I mean, what he did with that team, the way he was just to able to like inject his style of playing, like you were saying, having guys buy into that, where it's, I mean, Booker before Monty came, he was just ISO scoring 70 points, which was impressive. It was great. Like it was amazing to watch that. But at the same time, it wasn't, really leading to any wins or anything. Aiton before Monty came, is this guy a bust potentially? There was talks of
Right.
that. Bridges comes out of nowhere, and then of course the CP3 thing. But Monty was just, I feel as if he was like the head of this whole snake, and the way he was able to just get all those guys to buy into a certain style, like to get Booker, who's like Booker's what 24, like he's young, to get a young guy like that to like really buy in and understand, what it takes to win a championship. They went to the finals last year. They're probably going to go again this year. That's why he's 3 on my list, and he can easily be one, like 3, 2, 1. They're all top tier guys for me. 2, I had Taylor Jenkins. Similar reason, but with him, it's maybe a little bit more impressive because everyone on Memphis is young. Like besides Steven Adams, where that whole, at least Monty, you got CP3, that veteran presence, that can kind of ease it a little bit. Still amazing what he did, but Taylor Jenkins, man, it's a bunch of babies, bro. And then you lose your best player for like almost a third of the season, 19-2. Like that's enough said right there. So Taylor Jenkins is 2, and then 1. Gotta keep it green, Gabe. Gotta keep it green. My boy Ime.
Yeah.
And I've done the Ime thing a lot, so I'm not gonna go too long on this, but you saw it yesterday, bro. He didn't call the timeout. He let him play. Like Smart didn't take that shot. Tatum was fearless. Like that's Ime, bro. I feel like that's Ime. That's them too. Of course, they're players. It's always the players at the end of the day, but I think Ime had a big part in igniting that. So that's my coach of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. So I
Oh,
really wanted to pick Ime, and I think I will,
yeah,
even though I don't have him written down as number one. I have Monty Williams written down as number one
yeah.
because,
That's
and it's
totally
funny that
understandable.
I blame not giving it the defensive player of the year to Bridges because of he's a part of the Sun system.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm also not gonna give the coach of the year. I'm also giving that to the Celtic guy. It's just like complete bullshit.
I feel
But
you.
my thing with Monty Williams is, and I think he's fantastic. He seems like a fantastic guy.
Mm-hmm.
And Taylor Jenkins is third, by the way.
Yeah,
Super. Another thing, this is just as close as the MVP race to me,
bro,
if not
so
closer.
close.
If not closer. Like, this is
Yeah,
fucking crazy how close the Coach of the Year race is this
can't be
year.
mad at anyone being number one
Right.
on this list.
Because I'm thinking about Taylor Jenkins, like you're third, but also you lose your best player who is having an MVP
19
caliber
and 2
series, and
without Ja,
yeah,
like that's
and
nuts.
you go on a run like that with a bunch of guys with no other All Stars on the team. It's just
Yeah,
crazy, dude. That's crazy.
that's
But
crazy.
It was a historic turnaround. First of all, oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Why I'm gonna go with Ime?
Okay.
Which is why I wanted you to go first on this because you did sway me with Monty Williams. Everything you just mentioned about all those players benefiting from him. That also was the same time Chris Paul showed up. And I think Chris
Mm-hmm.
Paul gets a. I probably give him a little more credit than Monty Williams because of his track record compared to Monty Williams' track record other places. Chris Paul has been on 4 separate franchises that have had their best regular season. He
That's
did
a
it.
good point.
He did it in New Orleans. He did it in Phoenix. He did it Los Angeles Clippers, and he did it with Houston, I believe.
Mm.
Has to, right? Those are only 4 teams he's been on.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Right. So with that being said, I have to put a little asterisk on Monty Williams. Not That's not the right word, but that's the reason why I'm gonna side with Ime.
Yeah.
I even liked his presence. I always liked his presence. I liked the energy that he brought and the sternness that he showed just before we even knew a lot about him, even when they were losing.
Yeah.
I was
Facts.
pretty nice to him on this podcast. I was sort of more going at the players, like when Smart talked about like, oh, I'm not getting
Yeah.
enough shots up or whatever. That shit. My issue is more with the attitude of the players and whatnot at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then yeah, they adopted Ime's personality, that Spurs culture. I'd say that he played for the Spurs too. I think
Yeah.
he played and coached under Pop. So
Yep.
there was a lot of that coming in, a lot of toughness, a lot of mental toughness, which they showed yesterday. We'll get into that in a
Mm-hmm.
few with Sani, but I have to go with Ime Udoka. He was great all year, and it was a historic turnaround. Another, if nothing else, they get the short end of the stick. They get a very talented 7 seed Who
Yeah,
knows what will happen during this playoffs? But this was a successful year. It just was. And I'm gonna
100%.
reward Ime for that, just like I rewarded Marcus.
I love it, bro. I love it. Wow, who would have thought, man? Two of our, I get even Tatum, like three Celtics,
Right, Tatum getting
Rob,
first
even
team. Yeah,
Rob Fern with all defensive. Like, what a year, bro. So
yeah.
so proud of these dudes, man.
Can we quickly just uh skim over this just in the interest of time? Six man of the year, I Tyler
Yeah,
Hero. Yeah, I think it's a one man race.
yeah, yeah.
Do
It
you have
wasn't even
anybody
close for
else?
me.
Jordan Poole is not a six man anymore. Sorry.
Hero, and then yeah, it was like Cam Johnson and Kevin Love after, but Hero was
Yeah,
not even close.
yeah.
And
It's like
then
he's like a minus 5,000 favorite to win it.
he's really a starter, bro. When you think about
Yeah,
it, like he's closing for them. He plays
yeah.
starter minutes, but the whole coming off the bench. What else? I guess. Oh, the
Most
most
improved.
improved.
So
This was a little close
this
for
is
me
gonna
too. I'm not
get
gonna lie.
controversial. I might have a controversial
Yeah.
take on this, but you can go first.
Okay.
Or would you like me to go first? I feel like you've been going first. I don't know what you prefer.
You could go first. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, let me just pull up basketball reference because I need to pull up my stats here.
This was a tight race. This was a lot of guys.
Yeah, this is tight. Okay, man.
Shows the league is headed in a good direction.
I should have wrote this shit down.
I know, bro. I had to like. I'm pretty sure I deleted one of the pick. Like, bro. I was digging to find this shit, man.
You're gonna be
Like I
pissed.
have my
You're
my
probably not
other
gonna like
notes from the
this.
games, but I had
Yeah.
this on the phone. I mean, no,
My number three.
I wonder. I'm a wonder. I wonder who it is. I wonder
My
who it
number
is.
three is Jordan Poole. That's my
Okay,
number
damn,
three.
three
It's probably
game.
your number one.
Ah,
Uh yeah, 12 points last year, 18.5 this year, but that doesn't do it justice. It's the eye test, really. It's the load he's
yeah.
taken on, especially when they didn't have Clay.
Uh
And
huh.
he's just been great all year. And you were in on him early. But I felt like he was already trending in this direction, and this is a natural build, which what a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are saying about my number one, but I disagree. I think it's like it's a crazy leap for my number one.
It is. Yeah.
Uh, Darius Garland's my number two, another guy who just
Good pick.
a crazy leap, pretty crazy leap
Yeah.
for him. Where he last year he's sort of just getting his NBA legs still. He's just getting his sea legs under him, and then this
Mm-hmm.
year he's like taking big shots at the end of games and running the offense and just looking like a veteran out there. And I won't spend too much time on him. But yeah, very impressive year for Darius Garland, and I think that Cleveland team has a lot to build off of.
Yeah.
They were just a little outclassed versus at Atlanta at the end of the game. It came evident. It was just a little off track, but during like the third quarter, I was like, "Oh, Cleveland isn't getting anything easy
Yeah.
right now. They're not getting
Two
anything
different teams.
easy right now." And my number one, the guy. What does most improved mean? Who improved
I
the
think I know who
most?
it
Who
is.
improved the
Yeah.
most? Who was much better than they were last year? Don't tell me
Or
that
maybe I don't.
the other guys improved better than they were had this big of a leap.
Oh, I think I know who it is. Okay.
It's John Morant. It's John Morant. And
Okay.
everybody's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you can't give it to him as this and that." Oh, he's in the MVP discussion. He was 19 points a game last year, and he was 27 points a game this year.
Mm,
He was in the MVP discussion. If I told you last year John Morant was going to be in the MVP discussion this year, you'd be like, "What?" If I told you
yeah.
last year, "Oh, we're comparing John Morant to Michael Jordan," what? And that there were two seed in the West, and he led them there. Of course, you just mentioned 19-2 without him. Nonetheless, the numbers
He's still
don't
the
lie,
engine.
and the eye test doesn't lie, and we saw him in person. He's become an attraction in this league. That was not the case last year.
Hmm.
There's been Kevin Durant, Greg Oden comparisons to him and Zion now. Him being Kevin
Sorry,
Durant
New Orleans.
in that situation. I have to give it to him. He went from 19 points a game to 27 points a game. He went up in basically every other statistical category besides assists, and I'm not too worried about their situation versus Minnesota right now. But yeah,
Mm,
he improved the most for me across the board. He took the biggest leap, even though the other two guys also took leaps. I think for
yeah.
Jordan Poole, it's a steady incline, especially in your case where you saw it before anybody else, really. Where it's like, okay, this is just how it goes when you're in the NBA and you're starting out. Uh, if Jordan Poole goes from 18 points a game to 27 points a game next year, then I'll give the most improved award to him next year. But for now, I got to give it to John Morant.
Now that's fair. When you think about it, the leap Ja made is the hardest leap to make.
And
Tatum
it's a
kind
leap
of
not
looks,
everybody makes.
yeah, it looks like exactly. That's why it's so hard because it's
Tatum's
like
been a
few guys
steady.
can make that.
It's been a steady
Tatum, I
climb.
think he's kind of I think he took the leap this year. Honestly, he took that similar leap. Honestly, a little higher than Ja, but it's like similar leap still. Like that's the to go from an all star. It's like okay, you're a perennial all star. Like you're a really good player. To now you're like the engine to a championship contending team. That leap
Right.
is
But
crazy.
you say
So
that about
I feel
Tatum.
you on that.
You say that about Tatum. Sure, he's probably, you could say he's like at a higher level than Ja right now. But what my
Yeah.
point is, Tatum went from level 20 to level 25, where Ja went from like level 15 to level 24.
Mm-hmm.
It was a
Yeah.
higher climb in this year, in the
I mean,
2022
yeah.
season. That's my case.
No, yeah, I'm definitely when it comes to those two, I'm more surprised with how the like Jaws sleep than Tatum's. But I think with Ja, like we in comparison to some of these other guys, I feel as if we kind of saw that coming last year. Like I mean, what he
I feel
took the
you.
Warriors out. He took the Warriors out on his own in the play-in. That's when I was like, what the like this guy's crazy.
Yeah.
And then he was dropping 40 on Utah like his first playoff. Like that's why, but I on the same side, like that leap he made, that's really hard to make. So I can't like him being number one. I'm not. It doesn't like make me mad or anything. Like I respect that. But all right, getting into my list, and man, now I'm looking at this guy who's number three right now, and like I almost want to put him like one, but like my boy has to stay at one. Y'all can guess who. I'm sure everyone knows who won this for me by now. But three is Tyrese Maxi. That guy,
That's great. I should have
I
mentioned
didn't.
him.
Yeah, I mean, there's guys like it's so close between them, but he went from legit. If it's 20 minutes a game, like he'll have moments here and there, like maybe once every 2 months he'll have a good game last year, like a true like role player. To now, like arguably, I think there's nights where he looks like he's the second best player on Philly. I mean, we all saw what he did yesterday, yeah, going for 38 points against Toronto. But bro, it's just like you just watch him play. He's fearless. Like, he can run the offense. Even in like the game against Toronto, we'll get into that later. But there was a stretch where Harden and Embiid were both on the bench, and they was just running through Maxi. And if you're Toronto, you're like, okay, this is when we should come back, make the run, make this a game. And Maxi was like, nope, I'm actually that guy. Like, I'm not
Mm.
gonna let that happen. So seeing where he was last year to now, that's insane. So he's three on my list. Number two, I had Darius Garland, all for the same reasons you mentioned. Like I never realized how good of a shot maker he was.
Yeah.
Like he can make some tough shots.
Kind of
I
feels
didn't
like
see
a
that coming.
throwback for me, like a throwback to their mid 2000s, like score first point guard.
Yeah, it's kind of like Iverson-ish low key,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
like in between the paint, it gets like quick twitch movements and shit. So yeah, he's two. And then number one is Jordan Poole. And it's just because you're right. I did see this coming kind of. I didn't see this coming, but I seen like that he was going to be a good player in the league. But what really impressed me with him was, I mean, not only being on a team that won this amount of games, I guess with Ja, that argument is actually more stronger because he was the two seed. But I just did not see that coming with Poole. Like for him to be able to be kind of like the head of an offense for some nights for this Golden State team on a team where we all know how complex that system is, and it's like it's not a simple iso ball, which a lot of these players are used to. It's like real basketball. And what 23 years old, and he was able to run that offense for some nights. Even that game one against Denver was like he was the guy really. So that's that, and all the other reasons why just watching him basically be a turn into a third Splash Brother.
Yeah.
That's why Jordan's number one for me. But
Excellent
this
case.
was a
This is
tight
another
one,
close
man.
one. This is another
It's
close
so
one.
close,
It was a
so
very
close.
competitive year in the NBA, from team
Yeah,
success to individual success across the board.
great year.
You don't tell me the NBA isn't competitive just because
You
there
know, I
was
was
like
thinking,
was
Gabe, I
that.
think the NBA is number one for me now, bro.
I feel like I think that 40,
When
40 weeks
football's not on.
40 weeks out of the year, but then there'll be like a Sunday where it's
Mm.
just like fucking red zone's losing its
Yeah.
mind, and I'm like, this just feels good. There's no bullshit. It's just like this just feels great. So
Yeah.
for now, I'll agree with you, but
We'll come
when
back September to
when
this question. Or
when
like January, we'll come back and we'll
when
see.
Tommy gets it going,
I
there's not
know.
really
That's
anything like
still
it
the
for me.
best thing in
There's not
sports.
really
Yeah,
anything like it
for
for me.
sure.
But
All
yeah,
right. So
congrats to the
does that
NBA.
wrap it
Great
up?
year.
Yeah, right? That's our
Well,
awards. Oh,
we well we have rookie of the year and then we have MVP.
yeah, I forgot the biggest award. Oh my God. All
We
right.
can run through these pretty quickly though.
You want
Rookie
to
of
do
the
so
year.
rookie of the year? Yeah, this could
Yeah,
be
I
quick.
had three. Scotty Barnes, two Cade, and one Mobley. Mobley was just the
Mm,
most impressed. For this,
I
I
like
went
that.
who impressed me the most? Mobley. I think he
Yeah.
was the most talented. I think he is going to be the best player out of the three. And
Mhm.
Cade, they all impressed me, obviously. It was an
Yeah.
insane rookie class. Uh,
Insane.
but Mobley was the most impressive. He looks like he could be an all timer potentially.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there with Mobley. His just watching him do what he was able to do. That yeah, at that age. Yeah, so I had K3. Like you said, bro, it was so close. All these guys are really good. K3. I had, believe it or not, I had Mobley 2. And I had Scotty
Ah,
1. Yeah, and I was a Mobley guy coming into the draft. Like that was,
yeah,
I
he
thought he
got
should have
hurt though. You
went
know,
number 1.
I feel
He
you.
got hurt, yeah, and then when he came back, he wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
quite as dominant as he was in the
Right.
beginning of the season. And Scotty, like maybe I was more surprised by Scotty, but what I guess what it really came down to was Scotty's team on Toronto. Like I feel as if him and Mobley both had similar roles, and Toronto just ended up with a better
I
record,
feel you. I feel
and
you.
that kind of swayed it for me. Maybe that's not fair, but with Scotty, man, like I did not know he was like this. This was like Kawhi 2.0 low key, bro. Like he's bringing point Scotty. Like Nurse would just give him the ball and have him bring it up and run the offense. And on defense, he's like playing free safety, just doing whatever
Yeah.
he wants. It's like this, he's actually really big too when you look at him. Like he's freakishly large arms.
Yeah.
He has like this that you look at his face, he looks like a 10-year-old.
Dude,
But
I was just gonna say he looks younger than anybody like in the
yeah,
NBA.
that's yeah, he looks young as hell, bro. But he's a hooper, man. All these guys are hoopers. I think Cade might even still be the best guy coming out of this because Detroit was just so
He had a
bad,
really
but
impressive year. Like he
Cade
feels like
was
an
going
adult.
crazy.
He
Yeah,
feels like an
yes, good,
adult.
great way to put it. Bro, there was nights where he was going toe to toe with Durant. I remember that. He's going toe to toe with Luca. Like he's not afraid of these guys. And then people value what Cade has, the playmaking stuff.
Right.
That's kind of what the league likes. But great rookie class, man. Great rookie class.
I'll let you
Now
start off
the
the
big
MVP. I'll let you
the
start off
big
the
one.
MVP.
Ah, man. Man. This could have ended out a lot closer if it wasn't for that final week. But that just tells you how close it was because it came down to the final
Right.
week. That being said, though, I had Giannis third.
Okay. I feel like you're
And
about to throw me a curveball. I think you're about to throw me a curveball.
ah, I don't nah. I got Durant one.
No. That much,
Not
not
playing.
that much of a
Not
curveball. Not that much of a curveball. I have Jalen Brown too.
playing. Nah, but Giannis is third for me, and I guess I would say why he isn't one because like when you look at him and Durant, the best player in the league, like who
Right.
just like ceiling wise, it's those two guys. But the reason he wasn't one for me was because I thought Milwaukee started off
Yes.
kind of
They weren't that
slow, and
impressive
then
this year. They
yeah,
weren't.
they didn't come out with like step on your throat. We are like about to just run the league again, which they were. I mean, they weren't healthy. You know, Lopez was out, Drew was in and out. But I thought Giannis was also a little bit passive to start the year. Like I thought that situation, had he had them,
Yeah.
which he's very capable of doing, had them like a 1-2 seed throughout the first three. They were like 5, 5, 6 seed at some points during the season. Like he had came out and just dominated, probably ended up being number one, but they started off slow, and then even there was weird moments like where they would just, like the tail end, Giannis decided not to play the final two games. Yeah, that week when it was Philly and then Brooklyn the next night, and then it was like, oh shit, Giannis is about to win it. But then he, slacked off again. But it was a great, oh my god, this is a legendary race, bro. Legendary race. But yeah, Giannis is third. Second, I don't know. Maybe I don't think this would be a curveball, but second is Embiid.
Okay. All right. All right.
And it's so tough, man. Because I would love to see Embiid win this award. Like if any year, this is the year for him to win it. Like he was,
Right.
I mean, he did everything that everyone wanted him to do in Philly. Like he was that guy. Like, he
Mm-hmm.
stayed relatively healthy, which is always a
Kept them
surprise for
afloat
him.
through the Ben Simmons bullshit.
Kept them afloat. Yeah,
And
that's the
I'm gonna
biggest thing right there.
interject here because I have the same.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have the same order as you.
Same.
But yeah,
Yeah,
keep
okay.
going. I'm just letting you know. I will be there
Yeah.
to cut you off.
No, I mean, you're 100% right. Like the whole Ben Simmons thing, he kind of just said, all right, here's my guys. It's gonna be me, Seth Curry, and fucking, I mean Maxi, of course, and then Gorgie Niang. Like that's like a 7-8 seed, like when you think about it. But
right.
theoretically, but Embiid had them flirting with the top 3 seed for most of the year.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I think Harden, like,
you think Harden joining
hurt his
him?
case.
Hurt his case. Yes. Hurt his
It's
case.
probably a weird take, but I don't know. I felt as if because they start at first it looked like, okay, they won 4 in a row. Granted, it was against, I think they beat the Knicks twice in that run. Minnesota, there was a Minnesota win to Detroit, but they started off 4-0 when Harden came, and it was like, okay, Embiid's still putting up these numbers. They're winning. It looks like Embiid's going to take it. And there was points in the season where I felt as if Embiid was the MVP, but then they started losing, and then, which, I gotta blame Harden a little bit on that one. But then Embiid also kind of like he ran out of gas late at the same time. Then they started losing to Toronto in the regular season. Who it looked like they might sweep them now the way that series started. Who knows though? But yeah, like I feel as if that Harden trade just kind of threw them off once they started losing those important games. Whereas maybe had Harden never came to Philly, and like 2 games, for instance, like the Phoenix game, they lost. I remember Harden was a mess. But maybe Embiid steals that game by himself, and like they lose the other game. And like some of these games were against the top teams, they split just off the strength of Embiid.
Yeah.
Like, they dropped most of those games, and that was with Harden on the team. So I think it might not be fair, bro, but it kind of hurt his case. And then Joker's number 1, man. He's just, he was better than he was last year, which is crazy.
And he played more games than Embiid and Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to talk about
rough
Embiid,
roster?
Oh, they're like an 8 seed without him or whatever. Blah 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 blah. This roster without Jokic is like a 25 win team in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think we don't talk about how like crappy this roster looks.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why he's not. Where are they? A 6 seed? They're a 6 seed. But
could have easily been like 4.
Right. It's the whole league is tight. So as long as you're not like in the play-in,
mm-hmm.
you're an MVP. That's not going to deter you. Your record isn't going to deter you from MVP consideration for me.
100%.
Like you said earlier, Giannis with the Bucks, they were on cruise control at certain points. He was impressive all year, but him being their leader, and even at some points him himself, they weren't always like on the ball. Jokic had to show up every single night. Not even just obviously physically because he played like 6-7 more games than the other 2, but just like mentally and ready to go every night, or they were gonna get destroyed. And they ended up beating some good teams along the way, and now they're in the playoffs. It's probably not gonna go well for them against Golden State, who seems to be getting it going at the right time, at least based off of game 1. But I'm rewarding him for his regular season work and staying healthy all year, and just being a leader. And I love that it's the guy who just doesn't give a fuck about the award at all.
Didn't he say like he doesn't even know where the award is or something. His first, the
Yeah, I
other
don't
one, and I
know.
believe that
Like
shit. That's
Embiid,
not
you know,
like
Embiid
he's
wants
not
it the
just saying
most.
that.
Embiid wants it the most out of these three. You
Yeah,
notice
Embiid was
that?
even saying to the media, he was just
Yeah,
like, "What more do I have to do?" It's like, oh, come on, man.
right.
It's a good league. It's a really good league.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
Yeah, it's
You're
tough.
close second. Probably the closest race I can remember.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Can you think of any other? Definitely the closest since like LeBron, KD, Melo. But even then, I think
Yeah,
it was clearly LeBron at that point.
maybe that Harden Kawhi one, Harden one, but I
Wait, you
guess
talking about the
Harden
one Westbrook one or the
or
one
the one
after that?
Westbrook one. Yeah, but
Yeah,
like,
no, that
yeah,
one was just goofy. That was just goofiness.
that was yeah,
Uh, I guess
yeah.
you hear
Honestly, yeah, this is
Simmons
the
talk
closest.
about it. You hear Simmons talk about it. I guess Zach Lowe's the only guy who agrees with me that Kawhi was MVP that year.
It's true. It's
Not a bad
true.
guy to have agree with you though.
Yeah, Zach knows his shit. But yeah, man, it's
But
legendary
yeah, that's
race.
that. That's that. A legendary season. A legendary
Yes,
regular season.
75.
Yep, 75th years of definitely like when you talk about like NBA's your number one league, historically, absolutely. It's so
Oh
much
yeah,
funner to look back on the history in the
best
icons of the
history.
sport opposed to the
That and
NFL.
maybe baseball with the history,
Baseball,
but
sure.
NBA,
Sure,
yeah.
in
But
a few weeks, in coming weeks, just a little plug, we're going to have a little baseball talk.
ooh, look
My
at that.
cousin
See how we do
Dave,
that?
here's a pun, a utility player for us cuz he does wrestling, he does hockey, and he does
Yeah.
baseball. He's going to have on I'm going to try and get Ivan on too. You know him. Yeah, yeah. We're gonna
That's a
see.
cathedral legend.
We're gonna have to just sit back and watch them talk for that,
Let him cook.
sort of.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know
Just clear
shit, but
out. We'll just
I would love to know what's going on.
yeah. We'll just clear out for them. But yeah, that's that.
Good
And yeah,
stuff. Good stuff.
yeah. That's our all NBAs. That's our MVPs and our NBA awards. Stay
Yeah,
tuned.
man.
Stay tuned for Sonny.
Yeah, stay tuned.